Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is part 3 of building 3-in-1 CNC machine. So this video took a little longer than it usually takes, and the reason is that I miscalculated the amount of work in this particular part, and along with that I also received some faulty parts from the seller, but luckily seller agrees to resend them and I am able to deliver this video. So if you want to build a machine like that, then I highly recommend to watch the previous 2 parts. So without further any much delay, let's build it. So starting off this build by disassembling all the components which I previously assembled. The first thing I'm going to do is cut down this sheet to the required section so that I am able to cover all the open sides of the bottom base, because I'm going to install the electronics underneath the machine base. For the material, I'm choosing 202 1mm thick stainless steel sheet. This is a leftover from my one of the previous build. I measure the distance and then lay out that distance onto the sheet and then cut it with the help of angle grinder and a cut-off wheel. Later on, I cut down this 2mm mild steel sheet to fit into the bottom of the machine base. I place the frame over that sheet and then draw the layout of the legs so that it can be inserted under the base. Keeping them to its place, I first need to bend the 2 sides so that it makes a smooth transition between the leg and the sheet, and it also helps to align the sheet to its place. Once the sheets are inserted, I transfer the location of L brackets onto the sheet so that I am able to drill the holes and tap them to attach the sheet to the main frame with some Allen bolts. Onto the side panels, I also need to cut down a notch for the angle brackets, which is going to attach with the main post and the frame. Same thing needs to be done with the ball screw mount of y-axis. And this is how it looks after that notch. Then I again start the assembling of all the parts, and I started the work from the z-axis. First of all, I install the bottom plates, but this time I need to install each and every item in a precise manner. To keep the bottom plate as straight as possible, I am using one of the linear rod and held that parallel to the bottom plates. Make sure that no gap visible, and I steadily tighten up all the bolts by making sure that the plate aligns in a straight line. Then I clamped down a bar to both of the pillars so that both of their faces align in a straight line as well. Once the post has been installed, I start the work onto the y-axis. First of all, I laid down both the linear rails and then screwed them to its place, but I didn't tighten them completely. Then with the help of a thread, I made them parallel to each other. So this is very time consuming process and a very tedious job. So the main thing needs to be taken care of, that the bottom thread barely lifts the top thread, and if that's the case, it means that both the rails are completely parallel to each other. In my case, I need to shim up one side with a thin washer, and it made the job done. After that, I installed the rod holder, linear rods and linear bearings to its place, and they are ready to mount the gantry onto them. So the top of the z-axis is moving slightly outward, so that to keep it to its place, I'm using stainless steel angle, and I'm going to bolt it down to the top of the plates so that it maintain a fixed distance and keep both the posts parallel to each other, so that gantry will move freely without any hiccup. Once the gantry become perpendicular to the y-axis, I started the installation of the router holder. Although in the end I am not able to install it onto the front side, I decided to shift the place to the back side, and I'm going to install the laser diode and 3D printer onto the front side. But this is the method which I used to install the router holder to its place. To mount the laser diode and 3D printer extruder, I'm using this aluminum sheet, and I'm going to mount this sheet onto the carriage of the gantry. And first of all, I need to lay out both the items onto the plate and try that they will occupy as less space as possible as they can. Then I transfer the whole location onto the sheet, center punch them and drill down the holes. For the extruder I need to tap the holes, but for the laser diode I'm not going to tap them because the diode have a threaded holes inside it. So I'm going to use those holes to mount the diode onto the plate. So this is the bottom plate of the carriage mount, and I'm going to mount the larger plate to this plate so that it will be attached to the carriage of the gantry. And to mount it, I'm going to mark the hole location, center punch, drill down the holes, and then tap the thicker plate with M5 thread tap. After that, this assembly is going to be attached to the main gantry. To mount the motor onto its place, I need some kind of motor mount, and in my first attempt I made these creepy motor mounts and ended up throwing them away. And then I made Mark II of motor holders, and which seems quite sturdy to me, so I'm sticking with them. But in the end I'm going to use the 3D printed motor mounts for this machine. Once the motor mount is ready, I need to transfer the whole location of the motors onto this mounting, and for that I print out the whole location template and then stick onto the motor mounts, drill down the holes, and they are ready for the installation. For the tightening and loosening of coupling, I also drill down a hole so that I am able to reach to the Allen bolt inside that coupling. once the machine has been assembled completely, I connect the motors to the ramp board. So this video didn't contain the information regarding the electronics because I decided to build a dedicated video onto the electronic portion, because there are a lot of things which I need to discuss with you. There are some problems which I think everyone should know how to encounter that problems. So for the time saving, I'm going to build a separate video and try to upload it as early as possible. And in that video, I'm going to finally show down how this thing works and what is the print quality. In that part, I'm going to attach it with the motherboard, and that motherboard is going to be installed underneath the machine base with an LCD screen. And I think the next part contain a lot of work as well. Hopefully I'm able to deliver it as soon as possible. So if you like this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe and like button, and also don't forget to watch the other videos. If you are new to the channel, then make sure to subscribe the channel and also click on the bell icon to get notified whenever I'm going to upload the next video. Till then, bye bye, have a great day.